Hello, I am Alec. I'm a consultant and I just want to hang out. So we're going to close out with our hot take today. Check this out. We got title, A Christian Husband and Wife Follows Christ. Repeat, a Christian husband and wife follows Christ. The man is the head and the woman is the body, just as Jesus is the head and the church is the body. Okay, so I'm going to set this one up really quick. So I'm doing this right now because, I just want to lay down the tracks because there's groups of people out there that follow different systems of marriage, right? And I mean, that's cool. You get to do you get to do whatever it is that you get to do based off of the rules that you subscribe to. But what I'm saying is that you better show me your rules if you can claim that your rules are the way that how things are supposed to be. Because I'm going to disagree with you and I'm going to say, I don't think so. Because I'm a Christian and my rules are very simple, okay? So check out this bit right here where it says, one man, one woman, one flesh. All right, look at this bit right here. 10. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. 11. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. So all relationships are based off of trust, okay? Now check out what virtuous means, okay? Virtuous is morally good. Virtuous is acting in conformity to the moral law. Virtuous is practicing the moral duties and abstaining from vice. So that's what virtuous is, all right? And this is why I'm always so thankful for Jesus, because I was a sinner, right? And I sometimes still sin because I know the thoughts that go in my mind and I try to wipe them out and I say, please forgive me, Father. Thank you, Jesus, for saving me, right? Because I just know how quick that whisper and that hiss can get in and tell me that you should do this and you should do that. But and I'm going to drop down and just jump on this bit right here. Here's a fact. Marriage is a sacred trust, okay? So when you see a man and when you see a woman out there and then their husband and wife, that is a sacred trust. That is a pattern that God has designed in order for us to keep this game going on and on and on. Because when one man and one woman get together, then they're supposed to be fruitful and they're supposed to multiply and they're supposed to get out there and crush, okay? But there's a pattern. It's one man and it's one woman, okay? So I'm going to show you this bit, okay? So let's hop on our next slide. Game on. Words are indicators of the mind or thought. So we will know everything about you by the words that you say. Okay, so we're going to keep this one tight and I just want you to focus on the highlights. Okay, here goes follow. Follow is to walk. Follow is ride or move behind in the same direction. Okay, so that's what you do when you follow. Okay, so I follow Christ. All right, so I'm always walking behind Christ and I'm always riding with Christ. Okay, all right, now check out yoke. All right, yoke is a bond of connection. Okay, yoke is the yoke of marriage. All right, so example, so like my wife and I are yoked together. We are bound. We are connected through marriage. All right, now drop down. Together. Together is in the same place. Together is in the same place, live together in one house. Okay, like you're living together in one house. So like my body is one house. This body that you see, when you see me walking around, this is one house and this is my Father's house. Okay, now I want to show you what union is. Okay, union is to unite and union is one. Okay, check out in Ecclesiastics. All right, union is the combining or consolidating of two or more churches into one. All right, so like I am just one church of Christ. Okay, so when you see me, man, I'm just one church of Christ and there are many members within the church of Christ. And this flies over a lot of people's heads because people don't understand the terms and the conditions as written. Okay, all right, so we're done with that bit. Let's hop on our next slide. Check this out. Attack. This is how people try to attack you, because people always want to say, well, they just talk about Christians, and then they try to put Christians down, and I just don't really appreciate that, because I have firsthand knowledge of this, because I used to be one of the people that used to put Christians down, and I used to say that they were stupid and stuff like that, until I met Jesus, and then Jesus made me bend the knee, because he is the truth. All right, check this out. Here goes an attack. This is a very simple attack that people use on Christians. Attack. Christians are not logical. Defend. False. I follow Christ. I speak, ask, and answer questions. It is written, Jesus is the truth. See evidence below. So check out this building block right here. 6. Jesus saith unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. All right. So that's a script right there, and that's logic right there. So Jesus is dropping logic for the people, and now I'm going to show you what logic is. Logic is to speak. Okay, that's all it is. So when Jesus spoke and Jesus told us what it is that we're supposed to do and how we get back to Father, he's dropping logic right there. So when people try to say Christians aren't logical, I'm always going to disagree with you, because we have a Bible, we have a holy Bible. I use the King James Version because that's the perfect book for me, and all of our rules are written within the Bible. We have the logic, and the logic is the logos. And who's the logos? Jesus, because Jesus is the word. Okay, so we can crush every time as long as we use the words as written. All right, and when you don't use the words as written and you just speak from emotion, you're gonna get beat down. Okay, all right, so we're done with that bit. Let's hop on our next slide. Attack. A Christian church is a building. Defend. False. It is written, my body is God's church. Repeat, my body is God's church. See evidence below. So this one always blows people's minds, because they don't understand what it is when I'm telling them my body is God's church. You can't touch me. Okay, check this out. 16. Know ye not that ye are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you? Right? This bit right here, a lot of my brothers and a lot of my sisters in Christ don't even understand this bit right here. And this is why people get turned out and tricked out with this simple attack method right here. And I just dust it off because I understand how to defend. All right, now check out what temple is. Temple is a church. Okay, you see what it says? Know ye not that ye are the temple of God? Ye was meaning me. He was talking to me, and he says ye are the temple. Temple is church, so I'm the church of God. Okay, and then check out the highlight, part of the head. Right, so I'm part of the head, because I know who my head is, because Jesus is my head, and I know you can't beat me. Right, so when they try to say a Christian church is a building, I would tell them that's not true. You don't know what you're talking about, and I can show you with simplicity. Okay, all right, we're done with that bit. Let's hop on our next slide. So much fun. All right, here goes another attack. Attack. All Christians are the same. This one's real silly. Defend. False. Check their fruits. If you don't do the will of the Father, then you don't follow Christ as written. Repeat. Check their fruits. Because if you don't do the will of the Father, then you don't follow Christ. All right. So this is one of those bits, that these attack bits, when they try to say all Christians are the same. I'm like, no way, dude. We are not all the same, because we don't, we can tell because we just look at your fruits. All right. Now check out this bit right here. 20. Wherefore, by their fruits ye shall know them. Not every one that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. This is why I'm always following Jesus. 22. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils? And in thy name done many wonderful works? And then will I profess unto them, he's going to speak to them, and then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. All right, he's going to just dust them off. He said, you just be babbling. You may use my name, but you don't do the will of the Father. All right, check out 24. Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man, which built his house upon a rock, right? So the rock is Jesus. The rock is the word, right? So I'm always on the word, and I'm always hanging out with the word because that's my rock, right? So Jesus is my rock, and you can never move me from that position. And some people will try to move you from that position by saying all Christians are the same. And I'm going to tell you off the rip, we're not. And we're showing you because it's written, okay? Check out 14. Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion hath light with darkness? Okay? So we're not the same. You may call yourself a Christian, but we're going to know everything about you because of your fruits. We're going to see the words that you use, and we're going to see how you move, and we're going to see, are you copying Jesus? Do you follow Jesus? Is Jesus the only begotten Son, right? We can ask you simple questions, and if you don't know how to answer them, then we know that you're real subtle and you're real sneaky, okay? Just remember, all Christians aren't the same. All right, let's keep it going. Next slide. So much fun. All right, here goes another attack. A man with many wives is accepted biblical behavior. All right, so this is the one that always sets me off right here, because this is the dude, the Ringo, I think his name was Ringo Star TV, where he was trying to use Bible. He was using Bible bits and saying that polygyny was biblical, and then he used examples like Abraham and some other entities or some other names in there, right? And then I was just like, oh man, this dude doesn't know the Bible, right? Because every time a man stepped out of the proper pattern of how a man is supposed to be, one man and one woman, okay? So whenever a man steps out of that pattern, then you get nothing but trouble, nothing but problems, okay? Every time a man deviates from God's original plan, you get nothing but problems, all right? So like when the woman tried to give Abraham another woman, then what happened after that? Problems, okay? Problems, okay? When the dude David was thirsty after his boy's wife, what happened after that? Problems, okay? He sent his own boy off to war to get murdered so he can get with his woman, okay? So that's not the way that you want to be, and we're going to always show you with defense right here, okay? So here's the attack. A man with many wives is accepted biblical behavior. This is false, okay? The pattern and practice of marriage is one man, one woman, one wife, one flesh. The man is the head of the wife, just as Christ is the head of the church. As written, see evidence below. So I'm going to always show you my evidence. You're just not going to listen to me babble. All right, check this out. 24. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. Okay, that's a pattern, that's a practice, that's the logic right there. Okay, check out 23. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the Savior of the body. Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it. Okay, so just because it says husbands plural and wives plural, right, this is as if you're talking to groups of people, right? So groups of men are husbands, groups of women are wives. Okay, that's what it is. It's not just one husband and many wives. Okay, check it out. 27 or 26, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word, that he might present it to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish. 28. So ought men to love their wives as their own body. Repeat. So ought men to love their wives as their own body. He that loveth his wife loveth himself. That's how it's supposed to be. Okay, one man, one woman, one flesh. Okay, I love my woman just like how I love me, because that's how God designed it to be. Because I know where God dwells. God dwells within my woman just like how God dwells within me. Okay, and that's why I'm supposed to serve my woman just like how my woman is supposed to serve me, right? That's the circuit that keeps this world going on and on and on. All right, so it's not one man, many wives, right? It's always going to be one man, one woman, one wife. Okay, scary simple service. All right, so let's go ahead and hop on our next slide. So much fun. All right, conclusion. We're closing out right now. Here's a conclusion. The rules for Christians are written with simplicity, okay? Because some people try to say Christians don't even follow their own rules, right? And that's why we say we're going to know you by your fruit, right? Because our rules are written in the Holy Bible, and we can see how you move just by your fruit, all right? Rewind. It says the rules for Christians are written with simplicity. Follow Jesus as written. Jesus is the truth. One body is God's church. One Christian relationship logic is simple. Repeat. One Christian relationship logic is simple. The man is the head and the woman is the body, just as Jesus is the head and the church is the body. Okay? Game over. So right there, this is how we dust off this whole polygyny game right now, man. Because, a lot of people are going to fall off into that trap and they're going to fall off into that snare. And I mean, I guess that's fine. You get what you get, because you're always going to have somebody whispering in your ear, hath God said, hath God said. And then you get turned out, and then you get tricked out, and then you get cut off from your first estate, and then you got to go out there and grind out really hard, okay? And we don't want you to do that. And then this is why we always show you where we come from, because, I come from Christ. I'm a disciple of Christ. All right, so that's it. The game is over. We just wanted to show you that flow, so now we're done. So we're going to put this together. We're going to upload it. We're going to see how it flows. I'll talk to you guys in the future. Remember, nobody's having more fun than us. Bye.